All right. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Farm Meadow. Farm Bar Meadow. I want to make sure I said it right. They're fresh off their performance last weekend at the Progressive Prague the Forest Festival. Definitely thank you all on behalf of ProgressiveRockCentral.com, all of you for joining us today to talk about all that the Farm Meadow has been up to in the last couple of years. Today we have, I'll tell you, rather than me introduce, why don't each of you sort of introduce yourselves and tell what part you play in the band.
Who wants to go first?
Go on. I'll start. Elliot. So I've been present in the all of the lineups that we've had of the Farm Meadow. So before, so I was the first one here. We sort of morphed from a band called Blind Panic several years ago, 10 years ago, I think, possibly even more. And I'm the keyboard player. We had a number of songs that a couple of songs that come out from that period, but when we had different musicians in the band, but the last 10 years really has been that sort of lineup. So yeah, I'm keyboard player. I think it's true to say that most of us have got day jobs. Maybe not Keith anymore, but I've got a day job. So I'm a director of a company as well. So this is my, I guess this is what I want to do.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go next. Yeah, I'm Paul the drummer, and I suppose when I joined the band, some of the other members that Elliot was referring to were in it. So it's quite a long time ago. When I joined the band, it was still called Blind Panic. And we were beginning to, we found that there were two bands. One of them was called Blind Ego.
Yeah.
And I think they're a European band, maybe Dutch, don't know, not quite sure about that. And the band in UK called Panic Room. So we had Blind Ego and Panic Room, and we were just thinking, we can't really call ourselves Blind Panic anymore because it's going to be so confusing. So around that time, we tried to think of a new name, and we came up with the Farm Meadow eventually. And we were also, the membership of the band was a little bit unstable at that time, and we had some fantastic musicians in the band, and me and Elliot, I know we're really worried that we wouldn't be able to fill the slots with people of equal stature, but we've been extremely lucky with the people that have joined the band since. And yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed being in this band from day one. I mean, yes, sometimes it's frustrating, but we always have the goal of producing the best album we possibly can. Same thing now, we're thinking about the next one. And yeah, all sorts of problems over the past year or so with, the COVID and Brexit in England has caused a hell of a lot of problems for people trying to work in Europe. But yeah, I mean, that's me. I was the next. I think there have been at least two previous drummers, but I don't like to talk about them. And that's me. So over to the others.
Shall I go next? I was kind of next in. Yeah. I joined. I'm Keith, the bass player, and I joined Elliot and Paul just as Blind Panic were kind of moving on, and so there was still Blind Panic when I joined, and then we became the Farm Meadow. So that was about 10.5 years ago, and I've stuck with it ever since.
So hi, I'm Margarita. I was the last one in, so I joined about 7 years ago, I joined just before we started working on GTI, sorry, Given the Impossible. So that's when I started contributing. So yeah, and it's been great so far.
All right. Well, first off, let's talk about the present. Tell us about Prague the Forest. How was it? What were some of the high points? And if you feel like sharing any Spinal Tap moments, feel free.
Elliot.
Okay. Yeah.
Went
So
right to him.
actually,
Yeah.
no, actually, I would say it's probably one of the best gigs we've done. Well, I thought it was. I think we did a gig the week before, and we haven't played as a band for 2 years, basically. Not we haven't done any live work for 2 years. So I think the week before was almost a warm up for Prog the Forest. We did Damfest in Leicester the week before, but I felt it went really well. I think I'm probably the most critical of myself. So if I felt that I've played reasonably well, I think everybody else, I would hope everybody else thinks that they played well as well. So, but I think as a band, I think it was a great gig, actually.
It might be useful to point out at this stage that our fifth member, Dennis Warren,
Yes.
on guitar, has been stuck in Brazil for the past year. And so we had John Barry from the Blind Panic lineup. Before I joined, I've not played with John before, and it was a pleasure to actually work with him on this one. And he very kindly came and put the work in and covered the guitar parts for the 2 shows, and did an absolutely amazing job. So, we are hoping to get together with Dennis again very soon, and we do miss him. And but we've been in contact online throughout the pandemic and all that time, and have been rehearsing with him and writing stuff together and everything like that. So he's still very much part of the Far Meadow. And
we had a chance to write. Yeah, sorry, mate. We had a chance to write some stuff with Dennis before he went, actually. So it hasn't been, it's difficult because when you want to, one of the things that we've found out over the years is that when you play live, you naturally do things to your written track that you hadn't really planned on doing, and you find new bits and new ways of interpreting music that really contribute to the song. Gives it a real kind of, it's like, oh, why didn't we think of that when we wrote it? You know what I mean? And if you've gone and recorded it already, then you don't have a chance to put those bits on the record, which is annoying. You know what I mean? Just a bit of practical experience. So we are dying to get Dennis back so that we can have all of 5 of us in the rehearsal room. We can start really going through that stuff, because we have 5 songs and 4 of them are in fairly advanced stage of development. The last one is already sounding really nice. So it's this chance now before we commit to digital, whatever it is, the digital mist that comes in and produces the music for you, just to get in there and really work through this stuff. So I'm sure when Dennis comes back, it will be it will make a massive amount of difference. He's such a great guitarist, so really looking forward to that bit.
And I think it's worth saying though, John, who played with us at Prog the Forest, he did an amazing job, to be quite honest, because Dennis's guitar parts are extremely difficult.
That's right. Do that now.
It was. I mean, we were really pleased with John, how so we could have done it without him. There are very few guitarists who could play.
Too many rehearsals to do it either, did he? He picked it up really amazingly quickly.
That's talent. That's incredible talent.
Yeah. Well, saying that, actually, there's an unsung hero here. Keith, when he joined the band, I think Paul and I, we'd written all this stuff. We'd given him it on tape. I don't know how much time he spent on it, but he walked into the studio and he literally knew it note for note. There was nothing wrong, and we said, "What the hell?" This guy
he was saying to us, "Why are you playing that note?"
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's not the note.
And then it's like, oh yeah, he knew the stuff better than we did, and we wrote it. And it was a bit like that with Maggie.
Yes.
Maggie came in and started singing this stuff, and it's like, she said, we were saying, this was like Auditionsville, So we were saying to Maggie, do you fancy staying to do another number? Have you got time to stay and do another number with us? Just to try and, yeah. Well, you tell them.
I arrived at, 11 for an audition, thinking it would be about an hour or so. And I think I left at 4. So it was a full day's audition, including lunch, which was great. So yeah, it was my first audition for a band. So it was actually really nerve-wracking because I'd not been in a band before the Far Meadow. So yeah, it was just I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. I thought maybe all auditions last 5 hours. So
I think you'd never really listened to prog before you joined.
Yeah, most prog last 5 hours.
And one of the things I think we were all amazed at that is how Maggie's timing was just spot on, and you're talking about quite complex time signatures in places, a lot of 7, as you know, in prog and some I still don't know how you've got this, but you said it's something to do with the Greek music, didn't you?
Yeah, so I'm half Greek Cypriot. So I grew up around a lot of Greek music, which apparently has very strange time signatures, which isn't something I ever really thought about when I was, younger. But I guess it helped me in the Far Meadow. So I was being primed from a young age to join.
I want to just jump in for 1 second. I can't believe what she just said, that she wasn't in a band already. How could, we're gonna talk, that actually was one of the questions I was gonna ask. How did you find her, or did she find you? But thank God you found her, because to me, she's almost like the new Kate Bush. No, she doesn't sound exactly like it. She's not copying Kate Bush, nothing like that, but just that caliber of a singer, which, anyway, we can come back to that, or if you want to talk about it now.
We got, as I said, we got lucky. We got lucky with people, really lucky. So
shall we wind the tape back and sort of tell a bit of the story? Because we went for about a year without a singer, because Knock, after making the first album, decided to leave. So that left us with we had a lot of material that we were trying to sort of work on and build up, which ended up, being the core of Given the Impossible, really. Most of that material was from that time. We were sort of working, we did have for a while a wonderful guy called Terry Day, who sadly is no longer with us, but he helped us out for a spell, just sort of covering some of the songs and trying to sort of work on a few things, but he dropped out after a while. And of course, we at the time, I was writing the lyrics for Given the Impossible for the songs, and we were developing the concept for it and everything like that. And we didn't know at the time whether we're going to be ending up with a male singer or a female singer. And we were putting, auditioning various singers, and then I think it was on one of the online advertising things, we put a notice out there that we wanted an exceptional singer, and Margarita saw that and give that a go, and sent us some demos. And I mean, I for one was amazed at Margarita's diction and how the lyrics were coming across. Even, you know, in the recording that you made, it was an open mic or something like that, so there's all sorts of noise in the background, and it was just on a reportable machine, but it was cutting across really nicely, and I thought that was terrific. And so we invited you for the audition, and we had you prepared some songs that we had kind of already, but the afternoon after this lovely lunch, we we were working on a new song to really see how you collaborated with us, and you know, got to enjoy the process of working on new material, and that kind of worked out really nicely. So
and I think that was that Gentle Warrior. I think
it was, yes,
we were working on, and I think it was quite weird because I couldn't see now that song being sung by a male vocalist. Actually, I think it suits your voice so well, and I think it was it's a bit fated, I think, but I think it was meant to happen.
Well, after that story, I got to ask her, what gave you the confidence to say, I can do this? I've never been in a band, but I can do this. Because that you need to share that with others that lack that confidence and need that confidence.
Well, thinking back now, it was actually quite sort of brazen of me to reply to an ad saying we're looking for an exceptional singer. I've never even sung in a band, but yeah, for some reason I did. I think I just liked the fact that the ad was very nicely written, and it sounded like the people doing the music were very organized, whereas, you know, a lot of ads can just be like, looking for a singer, call me, kind of thing, whereas this was like laid out nicely. I thought, okay, they know what they're doing. So yeah, I guess I'd been doing a few open mics, and I'd written a couple of sort of little songs on my guitar, and my friends said, oh, you know, you should probably join a band or something, or at least, you know, perform somehow. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it just kind of all came about sort of quite naturally. I'd never been a singer, you know, in my 20s or anything. It was only in my early 30s that I got into it and thought, oh yeah, this is fun and something I'd like to pursue. Yeah, I don't know. I just did.
I still thought she was in her 20s. Sorry.
Sorry.
I still thought you were in your 20s.
I know, I'm 41. That's great. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, just I guess it was just something that came naturally and happened quite organically. I never thought that by joining a band I'd be doing festivals or, you know, even recording albums. So I was really lucky to happen to have responded to the Far Meadows ad, not really knowing what I was getting myself in for, but just, yeah, really fortunate to be kind of nurtured by such excellent musicians. So thank you, guys.
What tracks did you play at Pride and Forest?
Oh, what tracks?
Yeah, set list. Yeah.
So we had we started with Travelogue, which is our I guess it's a centerpiece, and that track has actually been around even in the Blind Panic days. So it was quite good for John because he knew some of it. So that was good.
Except that we molested it.
We did molest it a bit, yeah.
Somewhere along the line. His organ solo got sneaked in.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. So
it's one we always enjoy playing, isn't it? We've really warmed to that one, and just it's really a nice tune to kind of settle in with.
And it's got everything in it. It's got everything in it, and everybody gets a.
It's a great song because we were talking to Mark earlier about when you get a bit of live experience on a track, you can say, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And put this in and do that, blah, blah, blah. A bit of rearrangement. That track has really gone down well, you know, fortunately for us. And it's gone down well precisely because we had the time thrash it out. We've been playing it for years live, so we kind of knew what we wanted. And even right at just before we were recording, we were still thinking about what we would do with it. So anyway, I just thought I'd chuck that one in for good measure, because it's a great example of, you know, how we probably like to do everything, you know.
I think it's true to say, I'm speaking for the band here, but I think what we believe the live sound is actually, well, I think, you know, we want to be able to play everything live. We're not into trying to sort of like hundreds of overdubs or whatever, and you know, you got to be able to play the track live. I think, because I think that works best. That's my opinion anyway. But maybe the rest of the band don't see it like that. But
No, definitely.
The click track with loads of effects on it live,
yeah.
that breaks down halfway through the gig. No thanks. I don't know. No, I mean, you know, it's horses for courses. I think we get a real massive buzz out of playing for a you know, like Prog Forest had, as I said to you earlier, when we were warming up, Mark, had a really good audience. It was, you know, the place was full of people, and it was really exciting to play. It's great when the room is full. It just does something to me, and I'm sure it does something to everybody.
Yeah.
Asphyxiation might be one thing it does, but I don't know. And
Yeah.
you know, we had this gig at
I've
a
been
place
in
called
some of
Summer's
those
End,
small-
and yeah,
I've been in
we
some
had
of
this
those
gig a
small
while ago
theaters,
at
yeah.
Summer's End, and it was
I know what
just
you're talking about.
monstrous. So anyway, we went for it big time, and it's
Yeah.
that excitement of live is, you know, what Elliot was saying. You know, we want to try and have that in our
Bottle it.
recordings, studio recordings as well. Bring some of that in.
Sorry,
let me
we
get-
didn't
oh,
answer your
sorry.
question, Mark. I've just
No.
realised. So, you know, we the second track that we played was I've forgotten. Industry, and it's part of a. It's actually 3 tracks that are on GTI, and we tend to play. You know, it was all a question of time. We only had an hour, so we had to be ruthless. But we had we did the Industry, which is the third part of it, which is probably the most interesting, the most
Difficult.
interesting interesting is the wrong word. Exciting probably is a better word to play. And so we did that. Something obviously John had to learn, and there's quite a lot of intricate guitar parts in that and changes, and it's not the easiest song. We then went, what was the track after that? Was Sulis
Rise, yeah.
Sulis Rise, which is on the new album, and that was followed by
Himalaya Flash Mob.
And
GPI.
yeah, and that was really a track that Dennis had a lot of input into as well, because of the guitar riff. So I think, yeah, John I think John found that the most difficult to learn, because of the it was very much Dennis style track. It had a lot of Dennis's guitar style, so it's it was difficult. But again, that's a bit of a mega track, that one, and it's got some lovely. I mean, just talking about that track. I mean, when Margarita was had joined us and we started playing this, and there was this lovely section in the middle with where you've got these kind of haunting vocals over the top. There's these sort of, I like to think of them as Dave Stewart type chords from National Health type thing, but it almost sounded like in my mind there was almost this kind of almost a Northettes type idea, and it's lovely. You know, I think that's one of my favorite sections of everything we do, actually. But and then after Flash Mob, we ended with Foreign Land, which is the title track. And that one actually was there's a lot of Margarita's input on that, because of I think it was your melody, and I think in the end I just put some prog chords over it, and and that's how it turned up. And we ended up with that kind of, I guess when you talk about Kate Bush, I think that's quite a good, that section that we do in the verse is very much a sort of, you can imagine Kate Bush singing that, actually. So that's great. So that was our gig.
Well, thank you. I'm surprised this one didn't make the list, but let's talk about it. the seamless shirt. I mean, just the first time I heard that, and I heard her sing those famous Simon and Garfunkel lyrics again, I was like, whoa. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one. I'm sure everyone that heard that was like, oh my gosh, it sounded wonderful. Just to hear it from, the female perspective, but just she aced it. I mean, what what inspired that? I mean, obviously, go ahead. No, I don't want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, Elliot always wanted to harmonise Scarborough Fair in an interesting kind of way, and we started sort of working around that. And when you start to look at what the scene, what Scarborough Fair is all about, and it's about sort of setting your lover impossible tasks, that kind of set the tone for writing the rest of the album, because the whole theme of the album, it's not really a concept album, but the sort of theme of the album is really about impossible tasks. Whether it's things about overcoming personal anxieties, or whether it's having to overcome, as in a Gentle Warrior, trying to break the code of your enemy, and all of these kinds of things. And Himalaya Flash Mob, about sort of setting yourself this impossible goal, and possibly falling foul of as a consequence. So the lyrics that I wrote for A Seamless Shirt were based on the Scarborough Fair story, basically, which is a traditional sort of English song that was obviously made famous by Simon and Garfunkel, but it goes back, into
years.
Yeah.
But there's almost, I mean, if you look at the sections of that, then although we play the melody twice, and each time it's not played in any shape or form like the original. So the first time it's sort of more like a yes. I don't know, in my mind was the kind of Steve Howe yes type approach, and then the next time it comes in is the chords are very kind of, it's a band that we all like, actually, which is UK. The early UK stuff.
I've heard them.
And you could probably hear there's a kind of some of those Jobson type chords, or that will probably be there. So that's kind of the influence. But I don't know. I mean, as you say, the actual why do we put Scarborough Fair in there? I think it's really come from yourself, Keith. The idea of the, as you say, the seamless shirt. And, so yeah, but it's. I think we all enjoy playing that one. It's a shame we didn't have enough time at the Forest. But there we are.
And on the album, it's very much a kind of a closing bookend for the theme that we started off with. So there's a reprise to that, the opening sort of melody, and it. I've always kind of liked albums that do have that kind of sense of closure, that references back to what you open with. It's just something I like to do.
Excuse me. We should do. I think we should start. If we get a chance to play a longer set, we just stick that in. I love that song.
Oh yeah.
It's just great. So it's good when you're playing songs that you actually like, isn't it?
You love the first bit though, Paul.
Oh yeah, I do very much so. So does Keith, I think. I think he likes that bit as well. Yeah.
Margarita, what did it feel like for you? Do you obviously probably love the Simon and Garfunkel version, or?
Yeah, I was really excited to sing that song because I like it. So yeah, it was just a nice thing to do something familiar, even though it was in a time signature that I wasn't familiar with. It was still really good. I really like that song. And I remember working on it with Elliot at your house on the verses and coming up with the melody and putting everything together, and it was just really good. And I think with Given the Impossible, it was one of the first ones we started working on. So it was, it was just a really, I guess, important one for me because it was one of the first. So
I think